We are cooking. So I will turn it over to you, Sandra.
All righty. Well, thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate it. We are going to go on and get started here. Let me just get my PowerPoint up and making sure that you all can see the Americans SBDC New Mexico without the notes, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, awesome. Very good. So as Chris said, my name is Sandra Taylor Sawyer, and I am the director of the Small Business Development Center here at the Clovis Community College. And really excited to bring to you listening to your business. This is going to be a great 2 hours that we are going to have together. And then again, our part 2 will be on Thursday at the same time. And we are recording, correct, Christopher? And so this recording, if I'm not mistaken, Christopher, will be available. Okay, not sure where he went to. He must be doing something. But I also want to point out to you, you recently received an email from Christopher, and this contained the Word document for your worksheets for today, and also your participant guidebook. And hopefully you did get those items. If you did not get those items, perhaps in the chat, you can go on and let us know, because we will be referencing and using the worksheets and the guidebook. So again, welcome to Listening to Your Business. We are really excited and happy to have you here today. Now, Listening to Your Business, it provides a portal to the entrepreneur ecosystem for aspiring and existing business owners. And this is before, during, and after the startup process. So we will go through courseware and content that will equip you as the entrepreneur with the skills necessary to commercialize your ideas into viable business entities, and definitely to expand existing businesses as well too. We really want to drill down and address strategic pain points for you as the entrepreneur. So often entrepreneurs really find that they are really engaged in the daily activities of running their business. And I have definitely been guilty of this as well. And sometimes we really don't give adequate thought because we're so busy with the day-to-day that we're not thinking about how we can grow or advance our business. And so that's the conversation that we're going to start with today. And on page 3 of your listening to your business participant guide, a successful entrepreneur needs to ask some major questions. Where is your business today? What stage is your business in? And what stage would you like your business to be in 3 years from now? And then what transitions will you as the entrepreneur need to make? And how do you get your business from today to what your 3-year vision will be? So that's what we'll discuss today. The objectives will be to provide a strategic vision for your business, action, coming up with that appropriate plan. And then, of course, you need to prioritize and formalize steps, your transitional steps to get you from one stage of your business to the next. And then definitely to grow your business. So this is an active course. And what that means is that you as the entrepreneur will start to develop a strategic plan for your business, and that you're going to be able to take action today. So in the book, The E-Myth Revisited, Michael gives us this quote, and he says it several times throughout the book. And it is, you want to work on your business, not in your business. So what I would like for you to do is either in the chat, I think that's where we're doing this, is in the chat, or the Q&A. I can't remember, Chris, you told us the instructions.
The Q&A would be better. And there was a question about the handouts. I just resent them out to all attendees, so they will come in an email by themselves.
Okay, great. Okay. So in the Q&A, as Christopher had said, I want you to list what do you feel that this quote means to you as you've seen it play out in your business. So if you all can, in the Q&A, what does this quote mean to you? And how it has or has not played out in your business. And I'm going to switch and see if I can see those quotes, or comments also.
I could read them out to you if you'd like, Sandra.
Okay.
Not everybody at once now, put them in there.
Okay. So I don't see any quotes. I know that people can find the Q&A.
I see one. Melanie says, sounds like being deliberate and not reactive.
Okay, great.
Catherine says, profound, guilty of in not on.
Okay, so she's been guilty of working in her business and definitely not on her business. Okay. Anyone else? We'll give you a little bit more time.
Jesse writes, this quote reminds me of the dilemma I often find myself in. My business is running me and I'm not running my business.
Could definitely understand that.
And Donald says, I think the quote means you want to work on your business like working on your car instead of driving the car.
Okay.
Perfect.
That's interesting. Oh, go on, Chris.
I was going to say, especially if you're driving without oil.
I would turn you up. Sometimes you talk a little bit low. All righty. So, and really it is that working on your business is that day-to-day grind, those day-to-day activities that we do, really instead of looking at overall where we're wanting to go, kind of like the big picture. And definitely how Michael describes it is he talks about two brothers who are wanting to go into business, and basically it's just the two of them, and as they start the business they are doing the day-to-day. So one person is a great example of this. We were just talking about it earlier, is the bookkeeper. They will be able to record those transactions and really just do the day-to-day grind. But at some point, that owner's role need to transition to be the chief financial officer, and really just not looking at those daily transactions, but looking at those financial statements and determining, are we going to purchase a new building, bring on some more equipment, taking it just a little bit further. So that's just one example of working on your business and not in your business. So thank you for the participation. So now what I want to do is, of course, we do know each other's name. And I'm thinking the attendees can see themselves or the other attendees. But I want you to take just a few minutes here and create a 1-minute marketing statement. And what I want you to do is be sure to capture what you want, what your needs are from today's session. We'll make sure that we capture it, I should say that. So this is really just an informal need analysis, and it's going to help us to serve as a guide to just some things that we're wanting to really focus on. So if you would do that, your name, your organization, a brief statement about what you do, and then what your needs are for today's session. And we do have, let's see, I can't see exactly how many participants we have. However, move that out the way. We might be able to unmute and actually have people just give us a and I would say 30 seconds of your name, organization, a brief statement about what you do and what you expect, your needs from today's session. Can we do that, Chris?
Yes, I'm going to allow it,
Okay.
everybody to speak. You will be on mute. So just take yourself off of mute. You want me to go down the list and announce them so they could speak?
Yeah, that would be great. So we won't have everyone speaking or people speaking over each other. And that would probably be the best.
Okay, the first on the list is Carmen Martinez. So Carmen, if you'd like to introduce yourself, go right ahead.
Good morning, Sandra. Good morning, Chris. I'm just here to learn. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Next on the list is Margaret Hansen. Margaret, whenever you're ready, go right ahead.
Good morning, everybody. I'm a chiropractor, old woman now, and I want to teach some really important things that I've learned on a bigger scale in a realm that I don't really know about, like apps and internet and some things like that. So I've run a business, but I am moving on to something new. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Next on the list is Catherine Lady. So Catherine, if you unmute yourself, go right ahead.
Hello, everyone. I'm Catherine Lady. I am a contractor and have been for about the last 27, 28 years. I work at trade shows, contracting my expertise to businesses that need my help. Anyway, I'm like Margaret, I'm up there in years, and it's time for a little bit of switch because that other job is pretty physically consuming. So I'm looking at doing some things online and through the internet. So I'm in a training program and looking at kind of a big change in my life.
Perfect, thank you. Donald?
Yes, my name is Donald Sawyer, and my company is Marriage and Family Mediation, and I have been doing this for 25 years now. helping couples that are either married, single relationships, family members, just help them resolve arguments and disputes. And just one of the things that I realize is that even though I've been doing it for 25 years, I will probably be able to do it until the day I die, because there'll never be a time when couples and families and individuals will not have arguments and disputes. And so teaching them how to handle their anger, conflict resolution techniques, communicative skills is what I do and what I'd love to do the rest of my life.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Donald. Next on the list is Jessie.
Hi, I'm Jessie. My husband and I owned a plumbing and HVAC company. And I'm here just because I want to have the right foot forward as our company continues to grow and change. So,
Perfect. Thank you.
thank you.
Next on the list is Melanie.
Hi, I'm Melanie. My partner Dan and I, we recently opened a retail shop in Old Town. We carry handcrafted puzzles and games. They're kind of like the mind-bending type. And I'm looking forward to learning how to grow our business without growing overwhelmed.
That's a good one. Thank you. Next on the list is Peter. Peter, we could come back to you.
It says that he doesn't have a mic
Oh, okay.
and he's a juror and not a juror, a jeweler. Has been in business for about 6 years. Business has been growing a bunch.
Perfect. Thank you. And last but not least is Wendy. Wendy, feel free to type in your comments into the chat as well if you're not able to speak.
And while we wait on Wendy, Peter says what he is wanting from this session is to grow smartly and not overwork himself.
That's a good one too.
Mhm.
We also have two other panelists with us. Leslie Everson, she coordinates most of our webinars for us, and Adrian Gallegos. So Adrian or Leslie, if you'd like to introduce yourselves, you could go right ahead.
I'm Leslie with the New Mexico Small Business Development Center, and I always like to listen in the background to Sandra because she gives such great advice. So I'm here for just a little bit in between a couple other webinars, but Sandra, thank you.
Thank you for joining, Leslie.
And there's a chat that came in from Quinn. Miss Kate Quinn. My name is Kate Quinn. And Kate, let me allow you to speak if I'm able to.
And so, Kate, while he's working on that, what we are asking everyone to do, 30 seconds or less, is, of course, your name, your organization, a brief statement about what you do, and what your needs are from today's session.
Okay, my name is Kate Quinn, and I'm the owner of Fabricated Quilts. I started out as a long arm quilter, but the business has expanded in a lot of different directions. I primarily do virtual education and live education across the country. And I am just beginning to expand into some limited retail and wholesale work. So I want to make sure I'm prepared for what's coming.
Okay. All righty.
Thank you.
And
I'm
go
going
on.
to, Wendy, if you have anything, I'm going to remove your permission to talk for now. If you have anything you'd like to put in the chat, go right ahead and we'll read it off. And back to you, Sandra.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that exercise. And I definitely want you all to remember really, what your needs are, and even your fellow participants too, on what they are wanting from today's session to move their business forward. And so I believe I need to go back and share.
Hi, Sandra. Hi, Chris. It's Adrian Gallegos.
Hello, Adrian.
Hi. I just wanted to pop in and somebody said something that is exactly what I was about to say. Dr. Taylor Sawyer is one of our best presenters, and for her to take some time out of her day and her week to present listening to your business, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an insider information. Listen to what she doesn't say from the handbook. Do you hear me? Listen to what she says that is outside of the handbook. The handbook is great, and the participant guide and all of the things that you guys are going to learn and be able to take with you on the paper, because we sent it out to you, right?
Yes.
But Sandra has 30 years of experience in counseling small businesses. So listen to what what she says when she goes off the participant guide, because she's going to be able to give you guys real world hands-on experience from different companies that she's counseled, and success stories that she's been able to move those companies to. So you guys are getting an amazing treat this week to have Dr. Sandra Taylor Sawyer as your presenter. And tell all your other business owners and your friends about this class. We will be offering it once a month. Dr. Taylor, I'm not sure if you're going to be the presenter every month. With that, still, we still haven't got her to do that just yet, but it'll be presented once a month, whether it's with Dr. Taylor Sawyer or with another presenter. But have fun, everybody, learn, and make sure that you attend part 2, because it is, like Sandra was saying, just a 2-part series, and you're going to get a lot of good information on how to move your business forward. So thank you so much, Dr. Sandra Taylor Sawyer, Chris, Leslie, you guys always do such an amazing job. So good luck, everybody. Have fun. Take care.
Thank you very much, Adrian. Adrian is our Assistant Executive State Director, and I may have really botched up that title, but she's a very important person in our organization. And we are definitely here to help you grow your businesses. So thank you to Adrian and everyone at our lead center for giving us the tools that we need in order to help our businesses. So this little diagram is a visual, of course, of looking at where you are today and where you want to be in 3 years. In your participant guide, there's a quote from Jonathan Swift that says, "Vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others." And of course, my thing is, as always, I refer things back to my spiritual beliefs. And one of those are, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And definitely when it comes to your business, there are some things that, you're definitely not going to be able to see, but it is important to plan definitely for your future. So there is a quote by Stephen Covey. And Stephen Covey is the author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. His most recent and probably I think it was his last, was the eighth habit. And of course, he died, I believe, in 2012. But his quote, he says, to start with the end in mind. And another one of his quotes that I really do like also is, he says that our ultimate freedom is the right and power to decide how anybody or anything outside ourselves will affect us. Got to turn off my phone. My apologies. When you get in Zoom land, sometimes those housekeeping things that we normally do, we kind of forget. So I forgot to tell everyone to silence their phone. And I failed to do that myself. So let's see. And I'm hoping, again, everyone does have your guidebook. And is there anyone that does not have not been able to find their guidebook? And I realize that you're watching us on Zoom. Hopefully you have another either your phone or a laptop or desktop that you can actually open up that participant guide. And I just want to just again, if you don't have it, let us know. And I just want to give just a quick 30 seconds to have you open that up. And Christopher, I see there's some Q&A, and I don't know if that's just on my end or you're already addressing those things.
Well, let's go over some things in here. So
Okay.
Wendy put in the Q&A, taking charge of my business. So I guess that's an answer to your first question.
Yes.
Jesse, thank you for introducing yourself there. Donald introduced himself there. So nothing that you need to address right now.
Okay. Okay. So,
And I have a chat. Margaret says that maybe the attachment is unavailable. Margaret, if you would expand on that. And Donald needs the handout. Let me see if I could send it to you directly from my email address. I'm glad you took a second here, Sandra.
yeah.
So let's see here. Let me find Donald.
So while we're doing that, what in this first step, we are going to envision where you want your business to be in 3 years. And that's really what Stephen Covey is talking about, is that what's your future goal? And then work it back. So begin with the end in mind. There's another quote that I always like, and I think it's actually in here too as well in the guidebook, is if you fail to plan, then you just plan to fail. And so very important when we're looking at strategic planning. We want to, and I believe someone did say this, to be direct and intentional on their planning. So hopefully everyone has their the guidebook up. So you should have received a PowerPoint of the participant guide, and then we sent you a Word document for the worksheets. And so this would allow you to type into those worksheets if you don't have an opportunity to print them out for yourselves. Okay, I am going to go on and go forward. Okay.
Okay, Sandra, so Donald, I just sent that from my email address. That's cgarci15@unm.edu. So please check your spam box for that. And Margaret, if you would chat over your preferred email. Okay, perfect. I will email you those directly. And that's all I see in the chat. Sandra, back to
Okay,
you.
great. So this gives us a little bit more time before we actually go to the worksheets. So listening to your business, and this really relates back to really a lot of the comments that you all had said, what you're wanting from this first session. We want to help you to improve your understanding of what it takes to grow. So many times, entrepreneurs will look at, well, I'll give you a prime example. This is a good one. So I had visited with a business owner, and he was telling me that, oh, wow, my sales are really doing good. I have increased my sales like 30%. I can't remember the exact number, but like 30%, over last year. And so we're really doing good. And so I asked him the question. I said, so what is your net profit? Oh, I'm not making any money. Well, and I would say that is probably okay if your purpose is to increase your sales, but not increase anything else. And if that's your definition of success, then that's fine. However, your business is probably not going to grow. And I have my colleague here, although she said that she was just listening on, Carmen, and she can definitely chime in, and Christopher as well, as they're a wealth of knowledge also. Listening to your business, we're going to help you lessen your risk that are associated with growth. So worked with another client, and they were saying that, they have all these orders, and they're not turning any of their customers down, because if they turn their customers down, then they're not going to be able to be successful or to have the sales in their business. Well, one of the things when you're growing your business, and if your capacity, if you're already at capacity, and you are still putting things really into the to the bowl, is at some point going to overflow. And depending on what type of bowl that you may have, or business that services, products that you have, you could really damage your capacity. And what that will do is, number one, turn away your existing clients because you're not able to take care of them, because you're continually running after new clients and trying to fulfill their orders. Your services may go down as well too. And so sometimes in your business, at various times in your business, you're going to have to say no. And that's a part of managing and lessening that risk that's associated with growth. You want to be able to provide a structure for developing your transitional tactics. And we're definitely going to give you assessment tools so that this can help in your process. So as I said, the quote, if you fail to plan, then you just plan to fail. So this course will increase your odds of success. It's always important for strategic planning that you have a challenge, and that your strategic plan is detailed You do want it to be invigorating. Christopher and I was just having a conversation on excitement. So you definitely want your strategic plan to be exciting to you, whatever that definition may be to you. Value driven, measurable, and you want to make sure that you get feedback. So hopefully everyone has their participant profile up, a participant guidebook up, as well as your worksheet. And what I'm wanting you to do is go to, and let me make sure I have my page numbers correct. Well, let's first do this. Let me show you the assessment tool, and that starts on page 5. And Chris, what I'm going to try to do, let me actually stop sharing. And I think I'll do it this way. So do you see my assessment tool 1? It's a Word doc. Or Leslie?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
okay. All righty, great. So this is an example of the assessment tool 1, and this is on page 5 of your participant guide. And so we have here 6 columns. The first is my 3-year vision. So this is what we're doing now, is your 3-year vision. So it's broken down by your staff. Some of you may or may not have staff right now, but remember, we're looking at 3 years from now. Management team, vendors, customers, and then yourself. And then over on the my 3-year vision, that first column, the first question is, what do you see? So think about a day in the life of your business 3 years from now, and base it on how your staff, your management team, vendors, customers, and yourself will see your business. So what do you see? The second row is, what do things look like as it relates to those 5 categories or groups of individuals? What do you hear? So those are just some examples based on this business that we are just example that we have up here. But then on your Word document, you have the assessment tool 1, and this is your 3-year vision. So it's the same thing, but these columns or rows are just blank. So what we're wanting you to do, because remember I said that this is an active session, I want you to take time, and we are going to give you about 25 minutes. I'll have to watch my time, probably 20 minutes. And I want you to take time and actually complete page 6, the assessment tool 1, your 3-year vision.
Sandra,
And yes, go on.
There's a question about the handout. What is the difference between what do I see and what do things look like?
Okay, so this is a great example too. So let's talk about your management team. So here it's that you see an energized, committed, a top team. But what do things look like? Well, they are taking care of their areas and they're producing top results. So visually, what are their actions? What what are the results basically? Are sales really increasing? As well as net profit, is that increasing? So that's what do things look like?
Perfect, thank you, Sandra.
Mhm. And I
I'm
like
going
the
to-
customer, oh, go on.
I'm going to pause the recording while we do this activity, okay?
Okay.
And you want to start with Catherine?
Well, I actually want this to be a self-volunteer or volunteer. I
Okay,
don't want to, yeah, I don't want to. And Catherine's already unmuted? Yes. Okay, go on, Catherine.
Okay, so I said in the beginning that I have a nice position that I enjoy and truly love, but it's going to wind down. And so I'm moving into an area that I have not much expertise in. So I'm going to school right now. And so my 3-year vision is I will have gotten through school, maybe even gotten a degree. That's sitting on the edge with a lot of encouragement from friends. And I will have a few customers because at 73, I don't want to spend my entire life in in my home office working. So I'm looking for something to, 2 or 3 customers will make me very happy. It's web design, and I think that that will be good for me, what I'm looking for, at least
Okay.
at this point.
So yourself, that last column is that you want to be finished with a degree in 3 years. Great. And have a couple of customers. Great. So someone else, if you want to raise your hand and talk about what do things look like as it relates to your customers 3 years from now.
I see Kate Quinn is unmuted. Kate Quinn, if you'd like to speak, you go right ahead.
So I'm in the process of entering the online point of sale system that I just have contracted to advance to that level. And what I see as far as what my customers look like is I currently have several social media sites, one with over 10,000 followers and another that's developing. And before COVID, I was not very well known. I was very regional, both in our local area and West Coast. COVID, with all of its virtual aspects for me, has allowed me to become known nationally. So I've been a service provider all over the country, but I haven't capitalized on that. I don't have an email database. I've promoted sales for others, and I am trying to promote sales now for myself and open my own sales platform. And so I'm hoping I will have a pretty good scalable email list in 3 years.
Okay.
And be able to maintain essentially my own point of sale service, as well as a wholesale consultant for the people that I am currently working with as far as wholesale vendors.
Okay, great. So let's go with the staff. And of course, I know, and remember, this is a 3-year plan. This is your 3-year vision, strategic vision. So with staff, what do you hear from your staff? What are they saying 3 years from now?
If you'd like to speak, please raise your hand for me. I'm gonna and then I'll moderate from there.
Okay.
Don't everybody raise your hand at once now.
Okay, well, let's do this one. Let's go with vendors. So your suppliers of your products, or maybe you actually have vendors that provide services to your business that you resell to your customers. So what are vendors? What do you hear vendors say about your business 3 years from now?
Again, everybody's allowed to speak, but if you want to speak, please raise your hand for me and I'll call out your name.
Okay, so I am going to take it that the majority of people are service people. And okay,
Kate actually has her hand raised. So
there you
Kate,
go.
if you'd like to speak, go right ahead. You are on mute. Just unmute yourself and then you can speak.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I guess I haven't really thought about that. It's not that I don't have some thoughts about that. I look at what I'm doing and the demand and the request for my work has increased. And I am taking that as a sign that my service is valuable and I'm able to command more of a salary. And I remember at the beginning, I always felt guilty asking for money, like, am I asking too much? How do I evaluate that valuable aspect of what I'm doing? So I'm taking it as a good sign that they are continuing to ask for me and sometimes asking for me specifically over another teacher or another service provider. But I don't know that I have a mechanism for gathering that specific feedback right now. Do I need that? How do I get that?
Well, and a vendor definitely is another business that you are contracting out with either products or services. And really great example. Well, our plumbing business, I'm gonna pick on you. So you purchase pipes and screws and trying to think of things in a plumbing business that you would purchase. So who you purchase that from is your vendor.
Right.
Mhm.
My model is a little bit more complicated. I work for
Okay.
wholesalers and
Okay.
essentially they're hiring me to provide sales services to,
Gotcha.
like 500 clients or something like that. So the model is a little bit complicated.
Okay.
It's not as straightforward. But I understand your point. Like I guess those are my wholesale clients, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that
And
sounds more like clients than it would be vendors. That's
Yeah.
what it sounds to me, and definitely can let some of my other colleagues chime in too as well. But that's usually a vendor who you, the business, are purchasing goods or services from. So
Yeah.
basically you're giving them money, not that they are hiring you to give you money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so the primary vendor that I purchase from, I'm also their primary educator. So I'm I'm a contract sales support agent for them, and I'm also purchasing my product from them.
Okay. In order to provide the educational material to your customers.
Right.
Great. Good. So what do you want to hear from them then 3 years? Oh, there's Jesse. Let me go to Jesse. Kate, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Jessie, the real life plumbing scenario. So we work a lot with vendors. We have to get a lot of equipment and stuff, water heaters, air conditioners, stuff like that. And a lot of it is stuff that we need in an emergency. So it's Saturday and a family is without hot water. My goal, my vision, 3-year vision for vendors is that we continue to have good relationships, where all our bills are always paid on time, and they have trust and respect for us as a company.
Mhm. So I like that in 3 years from now, you want them to continue to have respect and see you as a good business partner
Right.
3 years from now. So that's great. That's great. So what I want to do now is move to our next assessment. And this one, see, let me just make sure. me get it up correctly. And Christopher, make sure that it just says you're just looking at the PowerPoint slide.
No,
Oh, you see my notes?
yeah,
Okay. Now,
better. But we're not
okay,
seeing the whole slide, but we're seeing
cool.
just the writing.
Technology, gotta love it. So on page 10, and some of you may have went on over to page 10, and it looks just like the initial page that we had, where we still have those 3 columns or 3 rows. What do I see? What do things look like? And what do I hear? Still based on what your staff, your management team, vendors, customers, and yourself. But you're looking at today. What are your staff? What do you see today in your business as it relates to your staff, your management team, vendors, customers, and yourself? Important to be honest with yourself. What's working, what's not, and don't make excuses. And this is really going to help you to define your strategic vision. So we're going to take about 5 minutes just to do that. So Christopher, I'll stop sharing. And if you want to put the timer back on.
Perfect, Sandra. And I was just thinking about what you had to say about the vendors, and I know supply chain was badly disrupted during COVID-19. So there could have been scenarios where people couldn't get what they needed from their vendors.
And that's probably what's happening now. Thanks, Chris.
The price of building material went through the roof, steel and sheetrock and all that wood.
Okay. Well, I know that it probably seems that we are moving quickly. I'm going to stop your screen sharing, Chris, real quick. And we are going to go to the next assessment tool. And on this assessment tool, and just verify that you see the complete slide, please.
We do.
Christopher, awesome,
do.
thank you. So on your page 11, this is where you'll find your assessment tool 3. And now we're looking at the gaps between your strategic 3-year vision and where your business is today, and what is going to take to fulfill your vision. So it's really great because I think it was Margaret, I think, had talked about she's wanting to have customers, a couple of customers in 3 years. And right now she has 0. So there's definitely a gap there. So what is it going to take between that 3-year vision and your business today? So that's your letter A, and there are, I will share my screen here so you'll see what tool I am referring to. So this is your assessment tool 3, vision gaps. So where are the gaps between your 3-year vision and your business today? And just try to, because I'm only going to give you probably about 5 minutes. So, just do at least 1, hopefully 2. Then go to B. What changes will you need to make in the way that you operate your business today to reach that 3-year vision? What do you need to change?
Would you like the timer on the screen?
Yes. And then the importance of this is that, this is your measuring stick. In order to get to the end, you have to know where you are and then what it's going to take in between. And I'll be quiet so you can do that.
Okie dokie, Sandra, if you're speaking, you are on mute.
Yes, and I really just said some really great things too. Thanks for letting me know I was on mute. So I know that we are definitely going pretty fast. However, this webinar is not designed to do a complete hitting all the boxes. This is going to be a little bit of a work in process. However, you do have over 40 plus of my colleagues throughout the state of New Mexico that can help you through the New Mexico Small Business Development Center, as well as our other resource partners that can really help you hone in and complete your strategic plan. And so as you take time this evening and tomorrow, you can definitely go back and think of other things that you may have forgotten or wanted to add to it. So keep that in mind as we go through the last 35 minutes of our time together. So really, I have a quote up here, Mary Kay Ash, and of course you can read it. But the important thing that I want to share here is that success comes in many different forms. And I did mention this earlier. Now, not everyone has the brilliance of Bill Gates. Not everyone can go to the edges of space. And I can't remember the guy that did that yesterday. Just landed in Truth or Consequences. Help me, Christopher. That's in your neck of the woods. Is it Bronson? I believe the billionaire.
Yeah, Richard Branson. Richard
Yes,
Branson.
thank you, Branson. But really, your brilliance is really your vision and your willingness to act on the vision. That's your brilliance for your business. So definitely keep that in mind. And again, success, you define what success is for your business. So now as we transition to the next section, and we'll end with this one, is we're going to talk about the business life cycle. And hopefully each of you can see that on the screen.
Yes, we can.
Cool. And, you know, sometimes when it comes to entrepreneurs, and this is okay, most have not considered the business life cycle. And what I want to share with you is that there is a business life cycle, but however, it is not necessarily going from startup to early stage to growth, rapid growth, maturity, innovation, and decline. You can go in and out of these cycles. So that's the most important thing. And I believe on page, let me see where it is in your guidebook. We're on page 13 if you're wanting to follow along in your guidebook. So this is the second step in the strategic vision. We want to determine what stage of growth that your business is at today. And then look at all the other stage of growth. Identify any challenges where you will need to transition from one step to another. And then the disruption in your business that will happen. So here we have, so here we have the conception as really kind of one of the first steps in our life cycle. This is definitely at an early age. And this conception can be at an early age of you have been in business for 30 years and you decide to bring on a new product. You really have to analyze that product, go through the conception of it, and then move into the other startup early stages as well. Notice also on this business life cycle that there are exits. So it's really important to know that at any stage in the life cycle, you can exit. And also, just like today, Christopher mentioned it with what we all experienced last year. I would probably say over 90%, definitely close to 100 of businesses had to begin back at this conception stage. And these are folks that have been in business for years and years. And just because you've been in business for the 30 years or 40 years is not necessarily that you're at the maturing age. So years really have nothing to do with it. Okay. And so what I was saying earlier, so today it really is common to leap back and forth between the different life cycles as you respond to the global marketplace. And for those of you who are definitely, well, let me step back and ask a question, or ask a couple of questions first. So for your business, what does the global marketplace mean for your business? And you could just raise your hand, or you could just type it into the, does it go into the chat, Christopher?
Sure, you could put it in the chat or the Q&A. And there's a question from Donald. Can you explain what you mean about existing or exiting? I'm sorry.
Exiting.
And then Donald has his hand raised.
Okay, yeah. So what is meant by exiting, exit out of a business is that you are actually leaving that particular business. So let's just talk about conception. So let's say that you do have a business idea and you do the feasibility study and you decide that, yeah, it is a good thing, but you're going to sell it to someone else so that they can actually take that feasibility study and start the business. So you're going to sell it to them. So you're exiting out of that. So you're actually leaving the business. So that's what the exit means. So does that help, or do you have another question? You had your hand up.
Yeah, my question, so you have exit on all of these different categories. And so, you explained about conception, but, why would you exit like out of startup, or why would you exit out of early stage, or why would you even exit out of growth or rapid growth?
Very great question. So it could be so many different reasons of why you would actually exit out. It could possibly be, number one, it could be your health. And you're needing to not do this business anymore. And this could be definitely at any stage. So it could be the health of the owner. It could also be because they are looking for something different. And so again, I want to pick on Margaret, has a viable business and ready to do something else, to do something different. And this is based on, and because she shared her age. And so she's exiting out of that. So it could be for any reason, really. Chris or Carmen, do you all want to add anything to that?
Sure. I'd like to think of, most of you on the call might remember Furbies from the 90s. Those were a big fad, toys for children, and they're actually coming back. But why you might want to exit at the rapid growth stage is because maybe that's the peak value of the business. And then as it matures, it's going to go down in value. Say you just want to start something up and then sell it and go.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. So there are 7 stages as listed. So we really kind of talked about conception, but in your participant guidebook, and this is on page 15, it gives the definition of all of the different stages. And so I'm just going to highlight them, and definitely you can take time to read it as well, a little bit more in depth. But we can start at the startup stage. This is where you have definitely started your business. And really for most businesses, money is going to be tight. When we're working with clients, we always share with them that whatever they think they need to start the business, add 10%, maybe even 30% now, as Christopher said, especially if you're building, just with the costs of lumber and building supplies that has really, really skyrocketed. You want to hopefully be able to plan for that. And so cash is pretty tight. Your products and services may be just at you just may have a small niche with your market. And there are definitely at this stage, you do want to make sure that you refer back to your business and marketing plan and let that guide your business. Then you have the early stages. At this point, you have attracted probably a large number of customers. You are probably having a little bit more competition. There are some things that you're wanting to do, but you probably have a small staff or no employees, which most of you have kind of talked about. So that's kind of the early stage. Then you have your growth stage. And this is where you have pretty established market. You may, unfortunately, still be experiencing cash concerns. And this could be definitely, you're wanting to grow, but you're not really having the cash to maybe bring on additional equipment. We had worked with a manufacturer, and they were definitely needing to replace their equipment. And just because of their process and the type of equipment that they needed, which was very specialized, there was a substantial outlay of capital that needed to take place. And, you know, we worked with the client and developed, again, another business plan, business proposal for him, because he was going to the bank, and really just help him walk through that process of, is this the right time? You know, what's going to happen if this equipment isn't purchased? Is he going to be able to meet the market demands that he currently has and that he's wanting to do? So that's kind of your growth stage. That's why there's probably a big drain on your cash. And then you have your rapid growth stage. This is when you are doing better than your peers in the industry. And so your sales, where the industry sales may be a growth of maybe 2%. Well, you may be doing 10% year after year. So you're really growing rapidly. And this can still be a risky stage because, again, you have more resources that you need for your business. And again, you know, there is no guarantee of success. You also may have different plans in place, your business marketing, strategic and operating plans that will need to be refined and updated. So that's your rapid growth stage. And then your maturing stage. This is where your business is well established in the market, and you may have multiple products and services that you're offering. Of course, competition is going to be increased. You may have a lot of, so work with one client, and they actually produced a product, and they were on a social media, oh, I can't remember what you call them now without saying the name. But anyway, where they sell their products and services. Anyway, they unfortunately had some cheaper copycats that began to provide the same type of products that they had. And they were pretty mature company in the life cycle. And they definitely had to rethink what they were doing. And really, as a result, they actually stopped selling that particular product and then pivoted, looked at a new concept and came up with a new product. That was their exit in the mature stage life cycle that they were in. And then the final one is innovation or decline. This is when you start losing market share and you have to innovate. Some entrepreneurs are really great at acquiring other firms with the similar type of products or services. And this is one way that they can really kind of expand their business. And I'm just trying to think of some business. Oh, this is really good too. You have what we've seen in our area, and I'm sure probably Christopher and Carmen seen this too as well, is that we have a older population of accountants that are in our area. And so what we've seen is a lot of those businesses that are wanting to exit. And then we're seeing a lot of the newer ones that are actually purchasing or partnering. Really, we're seeing partner in with those older accountants, and they're joining their businesses together. And I'm sure probably in another 10 years or so, we will just see those businesses just become their own entity. So that's kind of an innovation too, that we're kind of seeing in our area here. Okay. So those are the 7 life cycles that I wanted to share with you. And just because of time, I am not going to take time to have you really read over those. What I want to do is go to the assessment 4. And this is really where you are going to identify, and it starts on page 17. This is where you are going to identify what cycle your business is in. And there are several different ways of doing this, and I'll give you about 10 minutes to do it. And we're actually going to look at the alternate assessment tool that's on a page. Let me make sure I have the right page here. We are going to go. So I think this will be a quicker way of analyzing your business. Stop sharing.
Just let me know when you want the timer on the screen, Sandra.
Okay. And so this one, I believe, is on page 26 of your participant guidebook. And in your handouts, it's going to be the 3rd page from the last. So there's 2 assessment tool 4s. And I'm showing it on the screen, and it's a legal size paper. So it's going to be kind of long, but you do have the Word document. So what I'm wanting you to do, and we'll take about, we'll take about 5 minutes to do it, see if you can do it quickly. So you have your different stages of the business life cycle. You have conception, you have startup in the next column, early stage growth, rapid growth, maturing, and then innovation or decline. And then you have in the first column under categories, you have your business characteristics, goals and objectives, entrepreneur characteristics. Then on the next page, entrepreneur's management style, and then your planning characteristics. So what I want you to do is to read the business characteristics under each of those business cycles and put an X where you see your business today. Okay, so under business characteristics, I read this and I say, well, my sales are driven, it's fast paced, I have experience with the market, and I have a close relationship with my customers. And this early stage fits my business more than any of the other life cycles. So I'll put an X by the early stage. Then I go to goals and objectives, and I determine which out of the 7 best fits my business. Okay. So we'll give you, let's do about 9 minutes, Christopher, and see
Sounds
where
good.
people, how far they can get. Okay, so as I told you, this was going to be a action-filled session. And so you just did the business life cycle as your business is today. Now, before we come back together on Thursday, I want you to either take the same document, or you can use one of the other business assessment tool 4s. There's 2 of them. That's in your participant guidebook. And then do where you want your business to be 3 years from now. Which life cycle are you wanting your business to be in? And then once you do that, then I need you to do assessment 5. And assessment 5, you're going to answer the question. You are going to look at what your current and your future business stages are, and then what challenges that you will face in order to move your business from where it is today, what life cycle it is today, to that 3-year life cycle that you want it to be. And assessment tool 5, and I'll share my screen on that one. There are a series of questions. So of course, what stage is your business in today? And then using what you see as your vision for 3 years. How are you going to move to that next stage? Describe the challenges that your business will face in order to grow to that new stage. What personal changes that you have to make in your style and your role as a leader to move to that transition. Your management team, and then how you're going to prepare for any sudden natural or man-made disasters. And of course, you know, we talked about last year what we all experienced. And then do you have a plan to deal with those potential disruptions in your business. So the New Mexico Small Business Development Center, along with our resource partners, we have put together a disaster preparedness response and recovery guide for you to use as a tool. And so you could definitely partner with, again, one of our many professional business advisors throughout the state that can help you with that disaster preparedness plan, as well as help you continue with your strategic plan. And so we are definitely almost at the top of the hour. We probably have about 30 seconds left. And I do want to just share with you that we will come together again on Thursday, and we will continue the process of listening to your business. And I do want to share with you, and I think I see a hand up, the business planning track, which is really great, where you can see that regardless of what you're doing in your business, your vision, your marketing plan, operating, financial, and an exit plan, it does cover 6 of those of business life cycles. So we have a question, I believe, unless you've already answered that question. Thought I saw a hand up.
Donald has his hand up.
Okay.
So Donald, if you want to speak, go right ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to make a comment because just after kind of going over the assessments, just, as an observation, this really appears really complicated. And I just feel like, after, having been in my business for the last 25 years, one of the most important things that I've gotten out of this class and instruction is to be prepared. And I think that, a lot of us who have been in business or starting a business or thinking about starting a business never think about all of the different obstacles or situations that can come up. And so I'm kind of feeling like a lot of us can be a little maybe overwhelmed with the information that was presented, but I feel like it's good information, because if you're not educated on the different, obstacles that can come up, then that's why a lot of businesses fail. And so I just wanted to say, I appreciate all the information that you've given out today.
Thank you. That's a great observation. And that is definitely one of the reasons why the New Mexico Small Business Development Team is available to really walk hand in hand at your speed, business owners, participants, as you need it to get you definitely to your 3-year vision. And so with that, Christopher, if there are any last minute, we're way over time. Is there any last minute housekeeping that we need to take care of?